and in that film, it's really kind of like this environmental approach to it. And I just found it from the very opening frame through it all was just, I was absolutely mesmerized by that film. And in particular,
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke's performance. I've been a fan of his for a long, long time. And he just was just spellbinding in it.
And if I remember correctly, he was dealing with somebody coming back from war with post-traumatic stress. Was that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
PTSD. So he, he's helping a guy who's dealing with that, but then in that gets drawn in, and
Yeah.
you know, that's a movie that I'm going to watch again.
Yeah, it's definitely one that rewards the viewer on repeated viewings for sure. There's just so
Yeah.
much nuance and subtext and ambiguity in it. And those are the films that I think are the most rewarding, most demanding, where you really can sort of find yourself or find some sort of solution to whatever it is that you're working through. I mean, I think
Right.
the work that we've done together through our collaboration on Genre 2030 and MG&E it's really been sort of a love letter to Madison, to lives and livelihoods in Madison, but also sort of a love letter to the filmmakers and the film grammar that has inspired us. We started each of those projects with really just like a stack of Blu-rays, just kind of watching scenes and exploring framing composition and how that could help inform those stories. But I think what has been the most rewarding aspect of the actual film going of those, or watching those films, has just been the subtext and the subtlety, the delicate touches that we sort of like, peppered throughout that entire series, and it's I think for me that's the best kind of art, where it depends on you as the viewer to do some work, to kind of shut out whatever else is going on and just kind of devote yourself to this thing, whatever that is,
Right.
whether it's a piece of music, whether it's a piece of celluloid or oil canvas painting. I mean, I think that when the world is behaving the way it's behaving right now, that's when art tends to shine the most, because art can really sort of make sense of this. And it's a really bad time for a lot of people, but it's a great time for artists, I think, because a lot of people, we depend on the artist to kind of make sense of this, to present it in a way that we can digest, that can inspire us to change and whatnot. And I don't mean to like get all heavy handed and putting our stuff on top of on the same sort of platform and pedestal with these other masters, but I feel like at least our heart was in that place where we wanted to, the things that we were creating, it was about energy, it was about electric vehicles and energy conservation, but it was also like, we're doing something that we feel is hopefully going to help make this world better, So, yeah.
Yeah, and I have a comment to follow up on that, but I do want to remind anyone who is currently watching live that you can go ahead and type below. John and I are watching that, so if you have any questions for us, questions for Charlie, jokes you want us to tell, whatever, that's great. That's why we're live. Let us know. But kind of to that point of art, I've been super interested as well to see like what are the movies next year that come out.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like there's kind of it's very cyclical, and you'll see, like in the 90s, we kind of had a bunch of disaster movies. And now that I'm saying this, this is the first time I had this thought, but I'm like, I kind of want to go back and like look the year before what happened that caused all these disaster movies to get greenlit, I imagine now, we'll have maybe some viral movies, but I imagine that it's going to be hopeful, hopeful messages.
Totally.
In a lot of art.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think a lot of people need that. I mean, they're just depending on that, just like those reminders. Like at MG&E, we have every year we have these peregrine falcons that nest at our Blount generating station downtown. Peregrine falcons tend to like nest in very high locations. So we have, I think a couple of years ago, we put in a live stream falcon cam in there. And then people can just watch the falcons sort of nest incubate the eggs, and then when the eggs hatch, then just like feeding the chicks and just watching them grow. And this morning, I think we had some technical difficulties with the Falcon Cam, and sure enough, all of those bird watchers took to social media, and I manage social media for MG&E, just saying, "Where's the Falcon Cam? This is like legit my favorite thing to watch." And I, it was down for a little bit, but I think people need those reminders of what life was like before coronavirus, just to kind of get through this and just to provide that, that glimmer of hope. So it's interesting, like, so many people are just watching these 4 falcon chicks just kind of eat and grow. But those are the things that people are really, really depending on. That's a very much an example of hope. Life continues, life goes on.
Yeah, I hear you. You'll have a little bit of work on that Falcon Cam this afternoon. Sounds like fun.
Yeah,
and
it might be up now. I don't know. I haven't checked. We've got our best Falcon team members on the case. So
nice.
There's a interesting thing there too with like when some certain events or certain things that are going on in the world, when they reach a certain level or certain global impact, I think the way that you need to talk about them and tell stories about them has to change. Like Ryan and I have been like sharing the ridiculous commercials that are going on and like how annoying and I think like sort of tone deaf they are. Yeah. And they're saying like, in this time, we're all in this together. It's like, you know what? When like one event happens, when a volcano erupts and like damages a village, I can hear a commercial like that. Yeah. When we've been sitting at home for 2 months and the entire world is like dealing with this crap.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear why Coke has my back. You know, like,
Coke having your back, like, thanks Coke. That brands like that, it feels a little tone deaf.
Those soft drink companies, Pepsi included, and all the others, they've had some like, glaringly atrociously tone deaf commercials. So like, I don't know if it's just soft drink commercials and then just like world emergencies, but those don't go hand in hand. But I know what you're talking about, John. Like, I don't watch a lot of TV, not with like, commercial breaks and whatnot. They don't do that on the Criterion channel. But one thing that was really kind of cool was the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan, ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, The Last Dance. I'm a hoops fiend, and MJ was, I started out playing baseball. I was really big into baseball, and then I got into basketball, and I was always better at baseball. I wasn't great at baseball, but I was better at it. But my heart was with hoops. So watching this was just like nostalgia catnip for me. And but they have commercial breaks during it, and all of the commercials around like, and they were all like COVID-19 related, and they were all the same. They were just like, at first it's okay, but like just like with anything, the more you see of it, the less special it is, and the more lazy it feels. I mean, it was basically just images of people at home and then inspiring music, and it felt so, I don't know, not real, not authentic, the very very opposite of what we tried what we've tried to do with genre. I mean, with genre, it's like it really blurred the line between documentary and narrative, and then we just sort of fully embraced like, these are movies, and we treated it as such, but they were really rooted in authenticity of the subject matter, because we spent time getting to know the people that were in it, asking them their stories, and we didn't necessarily tell that story, but we told a version of it, employing all the genre tropes and tricks, depending on what genre that we were working in, whether it was horror comedy or science fiction or musical. And I feel like that's how you engage people even though it's more of a heightened reality, it feels some weird way more real to me. You know, where the other approach just feels a little bit forced and and heavy-handed.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that, and there's a supercut online that maybe we can share later. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's probably 20, 30 brands, and it's like, now more than ever, now in this unprecedented time, when things are tough. You know, it's like it's the same script with slightly different words, and that's part of the tone deafness. You know, like be unique, Coke, Pepsi.
And those
I
guys
don't know.
have done really
promote
good
health
ads before, but I think this time, I think, you know, and I respect. I don't mean to demean any of the people that made that, the companies, because I know what it's, having worked with you guys, I know that so much goes into making these things, but so much goes into it, the customer, the client relationship, you know, trying to kind of, you know, stay true to what you think the piece or the spot needs, but also what the business is comfortable with. And it's always a fine line, and it's a delicate dance. So I don't want to disparage any of those works, but I don't know. I think in these times you just need to stand out, and I feel like we've done that through our collaborations. And there's so many people, not just globally, but in Madison. There's the creative class in Madison is just inspiring, the stuff that is being produced and created in this community. And that makes me want to play harder for the community. You know, MG&E is doing a lot right now during these unprecedented times, and you know, we're reaffirming our commitment as your community energy company. You know, we're not disconnecting any customers, both business or residential, during this public health emergency. We're working with nonprofit organizations like United Way and supporting them, trying to really help them fulfill their mission. And that feels good. Because, you know, what's great about Madison, it's so small. It's a small town. That's not necessarily, it has its good and bad days, just like any other mid-sized city. But I just feel like the people that I'm close with, and the customers that I'm close with, and the communities I'm close with, I just feel like I want to play for them even more, and devote more of my abilities to like helping them along the way. And it's kind of cool that we've been able to do that in a storytelling way through genre. And we do that in my role at MG&E in a very energy conservation sort of way. So it feels like the best of both worlds. And, you know, you can't ask for more than that.
Bringing that back around to brand. I like it.
Yeah, you know me, man. I'm always on brand.
Yeah, well, with that, tell anyone who's watching, maybe tell them who you are, what you do, with, you know, your title, because I'm always confused when I write your title for whatever reason, because I'm like, he's a community connector. You know, he connects with the community and engages them, and, you know, creates great content from MG&E to engage and get people involved. You know, but I think you're like a regional. What's the title?
Oh, residential services manager, which
services manager, which sounds like a technician. It sounds like you're going to come fix something in my house.
You know, when I first started, it probably felt that title definitely felt more appropriate, but you know, you can't keep a person that's inherently creative locked down for too long. So the company has been really, really great in supporting a lot of the engagement campaigns that we've done over the years to engage people around energy. So I work in our residential and community services area, and we have just this amazing all-star team of players that all have their own set of special skills, to borrow something from what's that Liam Neeson movie, Taken. Special set of skills.
Special set of skills.
We all have our special set of community and residential skills that we apply, but and individually we all sort of do a bang up job, but you know, you put us together as one organism, and it's a pretty great thing. So we basically help our residential and community residential customers and community organizations, help them achieve their energy efficiency projects, help them use energy more wisely, connect them with renewable energy resources, and it's a pretty rewarding position, because you obviously get to work with energy, but you get to work with a lot of human energy, which is the stuff that I get off on. And day to day for me is I get to manage our social media platforms and also lead a customer engagement campaign that we're calling Genre 2030, which is a film series about life and energy in Madison. And it's really targeted towards the Madison millennial community. In 2015, MG&E held a series of community energy workshops, and we wanted to know from the community, from all areas of the community, multiple demographics, customer groups, businesses, residential customers, individuals. We wanted to know what they wanted out of their community energy company. And one of the things that was really important was energy efficiency. I think I've got like an echo. You guys?
Yep, that's probably John screwing around.
And John, come on, get with it, dude.
I know, we were in a really good moment.
Yeah, I know, man. I was like accepting my Oscar moment, and then John just started playing me off the stage with those guitars.
This will be good practice. Like what happens if somebody starts shouting at you? What do you do?
Yeah, I know.
You gotta throw.
You acknowledge it and just derail your momentum.
Just gotta throw a little wrench in there and then see if you pick it back up. Then it was meant to be.
I think I was getting a little too self-serving there. So thank you, John, for stopping that.
No, I loved it. Getting into the genre stuff that we've done.
The genre stuff. So it was like our way of out of those workshops, two of the things that kind of came up is we want you guys to lead the way on energy efficiency, provide us with energy saving tips, share with us how we can use energy more efficiently. But also we really didn't have any specific marketing or customer engagement tools, platforms for millennials, for 20 and 30-year-olds. So MG&E in 2015 also announced our Energy 2030 framework, which was basically this outline for our community to lead our community into a more sustainable energy future. And that has since gone on to our recently announced goal of net zero carbon electricity by the year 2050. And a lot of this goal, this objective, is based on pillars, if you will, of customer engagement, whether it's around energy efficiency, whether it's around renewable energy, whether it's around transforming the transportation industry and turning it into electric vehicles. These are things that MG&E has placed high priority items on, but also our customers have done that as well. So we're trying to reflect what our customers want out of us. And one of the customer segments and started exploring this idea of, we have Energy 2030. How can we complement that? And genre, the idea of genre is, different styles of film or music. That felt really nice, a nice way to describe the millennial community, where it's different styles of millennials, approaches to life, different lifestyles, and just kind of putting it all together in this interconnected grid, if you will, of community stories. And that really felt right. And then, we were able to kind of curate all of these energy products and services that MG&E provides, that we provide through our partnership with Focus on Energy, which is the Wisconsin Utilities Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Program. We could really tailor the stories to the energy and present it to millennials in a very sort of compact way that felt right and relevant to their lot in life. So that was really cool. And then we came up with this idea for genre 2030. 2030 is a year for MG&E where we want to reach certain renewable energy milestones, but genre 2030 is 20 and 30. It's an age, 20 and 30-year-olds. So then that sort of hit. And then, we're all movie nerds, and we all, I think, love being moved by good stories. We love telling good stories, and Madison, in my opinion, is just ripe for the picking. There's so much incredible energy going on out there, and it's been just a joy to kind of piece the human energy, combining it with the energy, and to have fun with it, and treat it respectfully, and treat our subject matter respectfully. But also, just at the end of the day, it's really about like entertaining and informing and making people feel better than they did before they watched. Just lost one of my AirPods before they watched the film. So
yeah, no, that's one of those things that you said early on is like, we don't want to be just a bill that somebody gets and ignores, or, we just don't want to be a name on a piece of paper that somebody sees. We want to engage in the vibrant lives of all of our people.
Totally.
Yeah. And I did throw up the website there. Let's see if I can get that up again. But that's genre2030.com, where you can see all
I'm sure this is going to break the internet. So this is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've got like 2 seasons on there, 2 seasons, 5 episodes, and we have 1 episode in the can, and we're hoping to release it in July of this year. And that'll feel like, a culmination of what this project is all about. Yeah. It's definitely our biggest production, our boldest production. And I think it's the one that that of all the episodes, of all the genres that we've done, I think this is going to really resonate with as wide of an audience as possible. And, we filmed this in 2018, and, we didn't release anything last year, but I think sometimes the universe has a way of saying, no, people are not ready for it yet, or, but they will be after this crazy world-changing pandemic, where these positive stories, these stories of hope, these stories of endurance, these stories of pushing throughs, and these stories of community are really, really going to be so necessary and so welcome. And I'm really excited to finally get it out there, but I'm excited to kind of hopefully present it in July after this, and just kind of add it to the ether of just positivity and people reopening their lives and being able to reconnect with people in a physical and emotional way that, we've been on lockdown for a while, so it's going to be cool.
Yeah. I think the other thing, the reason, getting back to the storytelling, was that, like, people don't just use energy for the sake of energy. Yeah. And so when you were looking at ways to tell stories about it, or to, I guess, kind of market things, that's why it was important, obviously, not to just be like, hey, this is how many kilowatts are being sent to your neighborhood. There's everybody's experiencing, the service that you provide, but what people actually care about is other things.
Yeah.
But kind of reminding them that, like, yeah, I mean, but we're there, the energy thing is there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, like, audiences are more demanding now. I mean, we're living in this like golden age of storytelling, and this there's just so much good, compelling content out there that I feel like people are just kind of conditioned to expect that. So that was always interesting too, to kind of like what would the story of energy look like as like a Netflix show, And so it's been really kind of, it was challenging to kind of like drill down and really figure out what that would be. But once we did, I felt like we hit the ground running, and have told some pretty rewarding stories, and stories that I feel Madison can see themselves in, not just like Madison millennials, but just Madisonians in general. And it's great to kind of showcase our city in a way that it hasn't been showcased before, I feel. And it's great to showcase energy in a way that it hasn't been showcased before. So, it's great. The films are really about the human energy. The films are what they are. There are moments littered throughout with like, a smart thermostat, or a space heater, electric heat, things of that nature. But if you go to genre2030.com, they can watch the films, but then it's kind of like bonus features on a Criterion Collection disc. They can explore the energy content on the website and find those resources that will, help them, our customers, power their lives. So, yeah.
I'm sorry. You're seeing all these real stories.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part of what we're talking about is fundamentally important. These ads that we're kind of complaining are a little tone deaf. It feels like it lacks a little authenticity, and because they're written largely the same. And I don't want to disparage people's hard work at all.
No,
but,
totally not. And they feel like ads. Look, at the end of the day, they feel like ads.
And they feel like ads, especially when like there's things like soda is leading one of the leading causes of obesity, and they're promoting their soda when they're saying like, no, we get it, and that's one of the top ways you can get sick, or one of the biggest pre-existing conditions. So why don't they say something about that? Why don't they address the big elephant in the room? But what we're doing is we're talking with people in very real ways, and it's been amazing for me as a filmmaker just to see more different people doing different things, and hearing their stories and struggles. We've got Juicy Jewels on here, and
Run the Jewels.
And Run the Jewels, which you're a pro at naming these things.
Oh yeah.
But it's so engaging.
And it's also too like, I'm not a millennial, although some like sources.
You're an elder millennial, probably.
I'm an elder millennial or a cusper.
Yeah. Yes.
It's. I just feel like I'm in no man's land, which I feel like that oftentimes.
They keep trying to pull more people in.
Yeah.
But working at MG&E, which has been around for like 150 years. Some of my coworkers also that long. I was like the youngest person, so just by default, it's like you can pass for a millennial, but you need to be authentic to the stories and the approach, but also to that segment, to that customer, to that demographic. So using the pop culture that speaks to them and embracing that, not exploiting it, but just like saying, yeah, that's us too. That's what this story is. So like with Run the Jewels, that was really sort of my, hat tip to the rap group with LP and Killer Mike. But for us, it's Jewels as like energy jewels. And it's been fun really naming these things. I mean, we did Meter Things, which is a loving homage to 80s horror and Stranger Things. And we were able to like release that day and date with the second season of Stranger Things. So that's the other thing too. It's just being like contemporary. That's been really, really nice to kind of contemporize energy marketing that, and I'm biased, but I feel like no one else is doing. And when people actually see these films and, like I said, take time to spend with them and then to explore the energy behind them, the films, they're very, very appreciative of it. And they sort of see MG&E in a new light, or, it's their first exposure to them. So we really want to make a really good first impression, particularly with our younger customers. And it's been great to do that through the art of storytelling, through the art of film.
Yeah, and I feel like we've been very I don't want to say sneaky, but like just authentic about how we do that, in that we make sure that this idea that we do what we can do. I mean, everyone working from home, I have so many lights and screens and things like that. Like if we didn't have power, we wouldn't be able to be doing this. We wouldn't be able to do a lot of these things that we just take for granted and are ubiquitous. So for me, like telling those stories has been important, because if there's ever anything that we do take for granted, I want to just, share that or have a conversation about it. And it's been amazing working on these projects with you and with MG&E, because they've been so open. Certainly you as a cinephile, but they've been super open as a company to explore how best to engage people, how to draw people in while, you know, talking about these issues, but not, you know, going and pounding, you know, smacking somebody in the face with this idea of electricity. Although we share this electricity, which is a little spoiler for that next edition coming out. But that's been amazing because no one's doing this really for their company, and certainly not a power company. So it's just awesome to see a group, you know, taking a chance at really reaching a target audience in a unique way.
I think on some level, the company MG&E, you know, really understands that, you know, our customer's story is our story. How they use power is really our story. So genre is really just that, holding up a mirror to the people that we're kind of going after. And I think that was the other thing too, by working with people like Lou the Barber and DJ Radish, we were able to, like, one, sort of leverage, I guess, their quote unquote celebrity. You know, I'm close with both of those guys, but their networks, the people that follow them on social or the people that are close with them, they gave MG&E basically a fighter's chance to connect with a demographic that for us and for many brands, businesses, has been, you know, historically hard to reach. So that was also a strategy. I mean, Lou's story is an amazing story to tell. You can't take your eyes off of him. The camera loves him. Same with Rashad. Same with Bria. All our stars, Saints Madison Juice Company and Jonna Perkins, the Ultra Farmer. These are stories. These are people that I get like starstruck when I'm around them. And I know other people feel that way too. So to be able to kind of connect MG&E and energy through their lives and their livelihoods, man, that's so rewarding. And then being able to develop a product that everyone feels good about, that everyone felt like they had a hand in making, that their voice is part of that collective voice. That's the idea of that I really, really, every time we approach these stories, it's that collaboration, the process. I love the films that, you know, they are what they are, but the making of those films, that being on set and just like pre-production and just trying to figure out these story points and how do you make this energy moment interesting. And man, that stuff is just like so invigorating to me. And I feel like, you know, you guys are creatives too, and the people we work with and the people that we associate with, this is our lifeblood. This is the stuff that makes us get through pandemics like this or whatever struggles. It's like, it's that creating something. And when you can do it collaboratively, it's just the most rewarding thing, instead of, because filmmaking is just, it's not, I don't subscribe to the French auteur theory where it's just a director's vision and he should get all the credit or she should get all the credit. It's not that at all. Film is just so dependent on this entire organism working together.
Yeah, so collaborative.
It's the most, I mean, it's such a collaborative art form.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like the films kind of speak that, embrace that, and that's what they're all about. That's what genre is all about. And that's what MG&E is really all about, with collaborating with our customers to achieve these very, very important energy goals.
Yeah. So you know, we've got this secretive, yet to be released property that'll be going out. Maybe you want to talk about that some, but have you, you know, you're mentioning watching movies every day. Have you been inspired by any future story genre stories to tell, you know, that maybe related to this, or maybe the kind of the next thing to talk about?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's this like Hungarian filmmaker called Béla Tarr, and he is just like notorious for really long takes and just really testing the audience's patience. And I would just love to do something like that with regards to energy. I had this crazy idea of telling, like, respectfully, like the immigrant story in America, but through like outfits, you know, like people bring their lamps over and they're not able to plug it into outlets here. So like in a very artsy way.
Oh, I thought you said outfits.
Oh no, electrical outlets. You know, stuff
electrical
like
outlets.
I watch a lot of world cinema, so I'm always interested to see how culture, how that sort of meshes with American culture. Actually, like, I went to a concert when we were able to go to concerts at the Sylvie. I saw this electronic hip hop producer, Flying Lotus. And the thing about this concert was it was in 3D. So like he was there, but then there was like this 3D projection. And then I think after the concert, I texted Ryan. I'm like, why can't we do Eevee, which is the film that we hope to release? Why can't we do that in 3D? Like that. And because we have a scene in the film that features close to 30 different electric vehicles. Mm-hmm. It's sort of an homage. It's not sort of. It's an homage to the opening of La La Land. Eevee Land is a musical that features electric vehicles, all local. We worked with 30 different Eevee owners in Madison to make this thing come to life, and so many countless community partners of ours to make that scene come to life. But it's an homage to the opening scene, the freeway sequence in La La Land. So we have 30 electric vehicles, but sharing this road with combustion engine cars. And at the time when we filmed it, EVs were starting to make its way into the Madison market. It's definitely not saturated it now, but you definitely see more Teslas. So one of the concerns that I think I had and others at MG&E had was there's this amazing musical sequence, but it's like, how are people going to be able to pick out the electric vehicles? So then I went to that Flying Lotus concert, just put those in 3D. So the cars that are in 3D, those are those are electric vehicles. So
yeah, just fix it in post.
Yeah,
no, that'll be great.
Yeah, right. That's what I always say. Just come out post. Jeff can handle it.
I do have some. Oh my gosh, he's ready. I hope he's watching. Jeff.
Yeah. Now's a good time to sing his praises. Jeff Bell. He's just this creative dynamo. He's been in many respects, behind the scenes, the heart and soul for these films, because he's the editor. Yeah. He's written some scripts. He's just been really, really such an important cog in the machine for this creative machine that we call genre. So much.
Well, and you get
left to Jeff.
Get into that idea of collaboration. We can't do it with any of not having any of the pieces, and I think hopefully you see that, and that's what I feel like are good movies are the movies where you're like, no, they cared a lot about that. They cared about how they set up that room so that the scene could take place in such a way that drew you in more, and that gets that idea of authenticity, and that's what we were trying to do, and I think we accomplished with genre. But before we share any of those details, we do want to take a moment to play a little game called Two Truths and a Lie.
Oh, wonderful.
I feel like there should be a little graphic that pops up, and maybe my children can, or all of our children, we can have 10 children be in a chorus of Two Truths and a Lie, which will be really fun.
I'm excited.
So we'll
played this game before.
Never in your entire life. We'll save you for last as the most interesting person right now on the happy hour. But John, do you want to go first today?
Oh boy.
Or if you're not ready, I can go.
Yeah, I can go. Yeah. Okay.
As of yet, we haven't told any of our guests that we're going to play this, but we did tell Charlie, so I think he's going to have something special for us. At least that's the pressure that I'm putting on him right now.
Oh boy. See, the problem too is then having some idea and then trying to think back to it and be like, wait, what was I going to say before?
That's why I write mine down.
Yeah.
All right,
Johnny boy.
I think I got it. All
right, I gotta look you right in the eye.
Yeah, see, it's hard.
I've worked with John enough. I know what his tells are.
Okay. I have never had a surgery in a hospital. I have a Great Dane and a rat buried in my backyard.
So those are two. That's 1 and 2, right?
Yep, that's 1 and 2. I totaled the family van, nearly sending my whole family off a very deep ravine. That's it.
So what was number one again?
Yeah.
I have never had a surgery
in a hospital.
in a hospital.
Okay.
Never had surgery in a hospital. Did you tell them all? I had to plug something back in before my whole rig fell off.
Which one?
Number one, you've never had surgery in a hospital. So you've had surgery like in your backyard. Check. Number two.
Never surgery in a hospital. I have a Great Dane and a rat buried in my backyard.
Mm-hmm. Is it a great rat or just a regular rat?
I don't remember. And I totaled the family van, nearly dropping my family off of a ravine.
All right, so Charlie, you'll be guessing first because I have more intimate knowledge.
Yeah.
However, we do play this tricky, so unless people cheat, which I only did accidentally one time, there should be two truths and a lie. But sometimes the truth, sometimes the lie is just a little off. It could be
Sure.
a friend's story, or it could be like a detail is off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Discerning the truth from the lie is, I think it's like all in the details.
Yeah.
So John's story, oh man. There's something about the ravine. I feel like it was like a canyon or something. So I'm going to say that one's the lie. The other two are truths.
Almost went into a ravine. What are we calling a ravine?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like a large river, or
Some
like
sort of chasm.
or like a dried up river.
So that's my pick for the lie. The other two are truths.
No more feedback on the ravine.
Oh, I was just looking it up.
Okay.
A ravine is defined as a deep, narrow gorge with steep sides.
Okay, so he didn't know what a ravine was, even though he said it.
Well, now what's the definition of gorge? Is it?
Okay, so number one, you've never had surgery in a hospital. I like to think you had surgery elsewhere, like you're just on vacation. You're like, I can fix. Your dad's like, I can fix that. And
I just picture. I mean, John likes to hunt, so I just picture like First Blood Rambo. Just kind of like just that self surgery.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. He did field surgery on himself.
Take out his Bowie knife.
Yeah. No, he did it. It was impressive. Okay, so I know Wally, your Great Dane, may he rest in peace, is buried on your property. A rat. I can't remember if you guys had a rat. I know one of the families, it sounds like Italian mafia. I know one of the families got into rats. I feel like that might have been you guys for a short time.
I never said animal.
I said stinking dirty rat. You filthy animal. Let's see. What did you guys I think you guys just went and picked up a snake. So to me, it'd be weird if you had a rat and a snake, but I think you had the rats before. So I think that's true. So I think the whole dog and rat are true. I know you totaled the car, but I think you went down in like a ditch and up and over a road. I don't remember a ravine being there, but maybe you're just confused about the terminology, and maybe there was a valley or something, a tiny valley, because you are over in the west side of Madison. That's very, very hilly. And then the surgery one, I have no context on. I'm trying to think. You said you've never had surgery? Is that the lie?
In a hospital.
That is correct.
So the lie is you've never had surgery?
The first item that I told you.
Dang it. Okay.
Dang it. All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah. I'm going to go with...
you think you know someone.
Dang it. I don't know if you've had surgery or not, so that would be my guess, but you definitely didn't almost go into a ravine. So I'm going to go with the ravine.
All right, final answer.
Final answer.
I had my tonsils removed in a tonsillectomy surgery when I was in first grade.
Okay.
Our Great Dane Wally is buried in a nice little grave underneath this rock that Amanda painted beautifully, and our sister-in-law's pet rat is buried up on the hill somewhere. And maybe I mean, everyone's made mistakes in this game, and maybe this is mine.
I was the first.
It was a very deep valley sort of thing that we stopped right in front of after totaling our van through a ditch and across the road, and then came to a...
Yeah, I was going to say, like, wasn't it like a curve, and you like didn't go through the curve, you went through the ditch and then back on the road? Is that kind of how it happened?
Yeah. And then we stopped, right? I mean, there was a steep drop after that, so I don't know what that was called.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I didn't hear that part of the story. I love this game now that I know more about you.
Yeah, it's also hard to keep playing with the same person.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
He's got to make stuff up. All right, here we go.
Two truths and a lie.
2 truths and a lie, not 3 lies, or 3 truths. I feel like that's happened before on our happy hour. And those who are watching, I think we might have maybe 6 or so. A couple on Facebook, a couple on YouTube. Please let us know your guesses as well. So let's see, 3 truths and a lie. I have never had surgery in a hospital. I feel like I should wait a week and then use John's.
That's what you did last time.
It is what I did last time, and it was a truth. But this could be a lie. I've got one eyebrow that doesn't go up all the way when I open my eyes. That's not the tell. That's just how my eyes are. So a truth. My sister got stung in her foot by a sea urchin, and I had to help her out of the water and get it taken care of. And then let's see. I don't have my computer on, and I completely forgot my third truth. But my oldest kid is 5 foot 2 inches. So that's probably the worst one to share, because you're like, is it an inch off? Is that a lie?
Is that Claire?
Is it true? Claire, she's the oldest. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. So recap. What are the 3?
Oh my gosh, we've been through such a journey. Me lying 3 times. I'll start in reverse, and maybe I can figure it out. Number 3 is that Claire is 5 foot 2 inches.
All right.
Number 2 is that my sister stepped on a sea urchin, which has like poison in its quill, and I had to like help her get out and then take her over, and we had to get her medical care.
Okay.
And then number 1 is I've never had surgery in a hospital.
Okay. Well, I'll go first again, since you guys know each other so well. I don't think Claire is 5 foot 2 inches, so I think that's the lie. Claire was in Meter Things. We did that in 2017, I think. Mm-hmm. And she certainly wasn't as tall then. I think we had to put her on like a wood block for camera eye level with Bria.
Yep,
I don't think she's gone through any growth spurts since then. So I'm going to say that's the lie. Claire is not 5 foot 2 inches tall.
All right.
She's a lot taller in spirit and positivity. And her smile is as wide as a mile, but I don't think she's that
yes.
tall.
I'm gonna go with that one as well, just because I don't know how tall she is, and that seems. I have no idea. I can never judge like height. I know what 6 feet is, and everything else is below that or above.
Yeah, it's kind of not fair because it's almost a it's a technicality. So maybe we should not have technicalities like that. I'll try to do better next time. But she is 5'2".
Damn.
I'll have her come down and stand next to me.
Yeah, no, we got to measure.
You know, I'm surprised that it's only 5'2". When she stands next to me, I'm like, dang, are you like 6 inches away from me?
Wow.
But yeah, we did. And with shoes on and leaning up, I like to say I'm 6 foot tall. So
yeah,
she is 5'2".
Okay.
And let's see, I have had surgery. I've had a couple different things, like my tonsils out. I've had tubes put in a few times. And actually, I'm going to have to call the doctor. Like while we're sitting here, my ear has been, it like pops. And then I can't hear out of my ear. And I'm like, that's not good. So maybe I'll go into surgery again.
He's like, I'm currently in surgery.
Yeah, I currently need, like small children, I need tubes again. And then what was the second one? Yeah, the second one, I was going to use that as a lie. I had written that down as my lie, but then since you did the surgery thing, I just wanted to confuse people. But my sister did step on a sea urchin when we were in Florida 2 years ago, 2 or so. And they have quilly, spines, and there's poison in there. And yeah, we got her out of the water and got her down and had to call the lifeguard. And we were kind of like, because they have the anti-venom, but almost going to take her to the hospital, which is kind of crazy. So she was just in pain, like severe pain for like an hour before the anti-venom kicked in, I think. And then she just had to deal with like the swelling and whatnot for a couple hours. Like that was freaky. They're like, there were signs on the Florida beach that said to not walk, to drag your feet. Because if you drag your feet, it'll make them scurry away. But if you walk, you're liable to get a quill right in the foot.
Ooh.
So, here we go. Right there. Yeah.
Yeesh.
So those are the easy ones. All right, Charlie.
Oh,
We've had about 10 or so minutes.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Okay, so 2 truths and a lie. The first movie I ever saw in the theater was Return of the Jedi. I once weighed 250 pounds, and I've shaken hands with a United States president.
The first film you saw was Return of the Jedi, you said?
Yep, first film I ever saw in a theater was Return of the Jedi. I once weighed 250 pounds. And I've shaken hands with a United States president.
I feel trapped. I feel like if I don't say a certain one and it turns out to have been a lie. You believe that, John?
Yeah, so you should go first then.
Just get it out of the way, John.
Return of the Jedi.
John, we've got enough in the bank. Like everything can be forgiven.
Okay, here's the way I'll save myself. Okay. I feel like you maybe seen something else in the theater.
I've seen other movies in the theater, yes.
First.
That is a true fact.
Because that would be maybe a really exciting one, but that maybe you saw some other random one first that I couldn't guess. And I feel like the 250-pound one is a trap, but you seem like the kind of person who has the personality to like change yourself in a dramatic way for the better when you set your mind to it.
Take the high road.
Yes, I'm a magician.
All right.
I'm like a spiritual and physical magician. So what's your pick for the lie?
The first one.
Okay.
That you saw Return of the Jedi. What was the third one? Did you actually say the third one? Because the second one is the weight.
Yeah, the second one is the weight. The third one is the shaking hands with the United States president.
Shaking hands with the U.S. president.
I'm 40, so that's not a lot of president. Well, I mean, I guess.
And I didn't give any story or justification for that one.
Yeah.
Which could be an easy lie, but I don't want to influence Ryan too much. But Obama came to the area, and I think my sister even shook his hand. She was like in the right place at the right time, like in this. So.
Okay.
So it's possible for human beings. So I do know that you were heavier and you lost a ton of weight. I do know that's a thing. If you hit us on a technicality, I'm gonna flip this table. Like, no, it's 245. You said you're 40. That's what I was trying to think. I was like, you're a little older, but I was trying to think. Return of the Jedi is 1983, so you'd have been just a few years old. So would your parents or friends have, your parents' friends? I guess you wouldn't have friends who take you to the movie as a 3-year-old. Would somebody have taken, maybe an aunt or uncle, would somebody have taken you to see Return of the Jedi as a 3-year-old or around there? That's kind of the question. And then, the president thing. I'm going to go with number 1 as well to say maybe that's the lie. Because, I think the president thing is possible. And if that's the lie, that was a good move because it was a very simple lie. And now that I'm saying the Return of the Jedi, I'm trying to think back if we've ever talked about this type of thing. As soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, that's true. But I'm totally doubting myself. So I don't know if this is an ACT issue where I should have trusted my first impulse. But I'm going to go with you didn't see Return of the Jedi in theaters.
Okay. Well, I want to see some tables flipped. So I know you have really organized, nice workstation there. It's some pretty expensive equipment on it. So please turn that table over. Just throw it. So I wasn't 250 pounds, but at my heaviest, I was 230. And I had some friends at the time that ran Ironman and sort of inspired me to kind of just get my life together. I call those like the Cheetos and PlayStation years where I was just like working temp jobs doing data entry, just kind of hating myself. Immediately just going home and just eating Cheetos and then just having Cheeto dust collect on the PS2 controllers.
Yeah.
So, I think one day like I went to the pool and I was like at a weight and, this isn't body shaming or anything like that, but I was at a weight where I was just like, I didn't feel comfortable going into water without wearing a shirt. But then the shirt just clings to you. So you just see your form in a very more pristine,
you didn't love it.
Perfect way. So that I looked in the mirror and I just said, I need to do something about this. Not because like, I just didn't feel good. It didn't feel like me. So then I started running and then I ran like 3 marathons in a row. That was pretty good. And ever since then, I run every day. I have a bad back now, so I can't run marathons or any, long distance running. But so 230 was my heaviest. Sorry.
Nice.
Sorry for the technicality.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah. So that was the lie. The other two, the truths, it was Return of the Jedi. So in 1983, I was 4, but they re-released it the next year. So my dad took me to see it when I was 5, actually, in 1984. So
that makes
sense. I didn't see it on the first run. I saw it when they re-released it in Hawaii, of all places. So that was kind of cool. And yes, you're right, Ryan. Like we did that presentation together at Dream Bank, and I talk about that. I think I have a slide from.
I had an inkling. Yeah.
Yeah. So back.
I should have gone with that.
Yeah, back in the cavern of your mind, you sort of remember that moment.
It's
And
the
then
ACT rules.
the other thing, oh yeah, I've shaken President Reagan's hand. My dad was like the head of security at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley. So I was able to meet President Reagan. He was out of office at the time, but there you go.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the 250 thing. It's like weight is such a funny thing. Like people are such different sizes.
Yeah.
Like for me, I haven't weighed myself in 2.5 months or so, and I work out a lot now. But and we have some photos probably with me in a Buddha belly.
Yeah.
I was probably 215, 220, which is not my highest. You know, I think my highest was 230, 235, 240. And I don't know if I've ever seen pictures of you, but I feel like from our discussions, I was like, oh man, I had way more pounds than you had, but like, you know, just based on body, like I think my frame is just wide, you know, like I have large ribs. I'll always have a little bit of that extra weight. So that was my calculation there. I was like, how big did I get? And I think, how tall are you, Charlie? Are you
5'11"?
Yeah. So I'm just a smidge taller.
I'm tall for a Filipino for sure.
Are you? Yeah. But like I feel like I've always known you like as
center on an all Filipino basketball team for sure.
Nice. Well, since you can dunk, it's good. But I've always, you know, thought of you as like a skinny guy compared to like my frame. So I was like, that was my calculation there. I was like, maybe he could have been 250, but you know.
Yeah, when you start every morning with the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit from McDonald's, and then just do data entry all day long, and work right next to a Chinese buffet, and then have like no personal life or nightlife or social life, it's easy to put on the pounds.
Yeah, that was my freshman year of college, and we had the Greasy Gardens in Milwaukee, UW Milwaukee. I can't remember what it was actually called. It was like something gardens, but it was all like fried chicken, pizza. And so, you know, you get up and for lunch you have some pizza, and for dinner you have whatever, you know, chicken and fried chicken and potatoes and stuff. And that's what it was. And it was the same thing. Like, yeah, let's feel better about this. And, you know, you get into those routines, and especially now it's been very hard. I like literally lift sandbags at home.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because everyone bought up the weights. I didn't get into the weights, so I had to bring a bunch of sandbags from home or from work that we weren't using, and I connect them. I bought a bunch of carabiners, and I connect them together so that I can still bench, I can curl, I can do shoulders, I can do back. You know, like my despite my extra eating and drinking over the last 2.5 months, I think I'll be okay with my Corona bod, you know, coming out of this.
Man,
and I think when I wanted to lose the weight, it wasn't necessarily like, oh my God, I don't like the way I look. It was just like, gosh, I am in such a rut, and I just needed to get out of that rut. And it just so happened to be running and a physical sort of activity that got me out of it. And, you know, there's so many benefits with physical fitness, I suppose, mental, emotional, but I don't know. Ever since then, it's just become part of my routine, my ritual, like brushing my teeth. It's like just run in the morning, and it's I need that foundation, you know, to kind of like hold me accountable to what I need to accomplish every day. So just having those things, and that's been really what during this pandemic, this quarantine has been really sort of having your routine and ritual sort of just presented in your face every day, especially on the domestic front, but like the routines and rituals that you share with other people, whether it's, you know, meeting someone for a drink or going out to dinner or going over to your friend's house and bringing your family and just having an awesome family dinner, dance party. You know, those things have been completely, you know, absent for, I guess it's going on 3 months now for us. So, you know, those are the things that I'm really kind of desperately in need of. And I really want to thank you guys for having me on today, because this has been a way for me to reconnect with that and to kind of, I don't know, to give me something to look forward to like, look, what's this going to feel like in real when we're sharing a space, maybe 6 feet apart, but at least we'll still be present, mind, body, and soul, not through like a glowing rectangle.
Yeah. A soul-sucking camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do have some photos here that you sent over.
Oh yeah.
We
That's my
probably
dad. That's my dad who took
this.
me. That's me as a young child.
Here, let me switch over. This is we could probably talk,
Yeah. So
hours
again,
and hours, and we have, but I want to share what you shared as well.
oh yeah. So yeah, it's Criterion Channel. That's been basically how we've been getting through genre. People can watch the films at genre2030.com, and they can actually subscribe. They can give us their email, and when we release Eevee which this is a behind the scenes shot of that finale that we talked about, we'll send them an email and they'll let them know when it actually releases. And this is just some set photography that I did during the production of Eevee. There's our guy Jordan Post. And then
photo.
What was this dude's name? The Steadicam operator. Nate
I will
Stevens,
come up.
right?
Nate. I was gonna say
Nate.
as I've been drinking the Rocks tequila for a little while. I was like, I will come up with that in a little while.
Nate was like the Tony Stark of that production. That's that rig that he had to strap, and we shot it in.
He was a champ.
The last weekend of July and August. It was hot as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that dude, we needed. Like the film was going to be fluid. It was never going to be stationary, and the camera was never going to be stationary until the final shot when our main character has okay, she's cool, she's calm. So we needed the best Steadicam operator in these parts, and Nate definitely fits the bill. So it was a marvel to watch. I mean, this was our 6th collaboration together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 5th.
Right.
One of them, Carrie Hyman from Dreamlands Media, who really sort of was our director and our visionary for season 2.
Right.
She did one outside of our little universe, but brought it into the universe. So this was our 5th one, this Eevee, and the production. This really felt like a Hollywood production, like a full scale. Whereas before it was just these little indie art avant-garde films, just stealing shots. And this, we just it was a full scale production. So to really kind of in a voyeuristic sort of way, just kind of watch you guys just apply your craft, and working with such a big crew of professionals, doing things that they had never done before. I mean, it was just a privilege. I mean, this is going to be, it's going to be hard to top this. This is the great pleasures of my professional, and there's a gut right there.
The Buddha belly, baby.
I like that you use the arrow pointer to point that out, but really you don't need to. That's immediately.
Yeah, no one else can see that but you.
I think.
I thought we don't do heavy-handed messaging. Pun very much intended.
Yes, yes.
And there's my guy Marty Scorsese. This is a still from Manila, in the Claws of Light, that Lino Brocca, Filipino filmmaker. This is just a magical film. So yeah. That's basically there. I mean, there's shots of I should have just included wine bottles and bourbon and scotch and music. and my wife is just this amazing cook. So I basically curate the film list, and she curates our menus every day. And we pair it together pretty nicely. So yeah.
And she puts up with the weird stuff?
She loves it, man. It's so
nice.
I mean, this is why she's my life partner. We don't only just watch the Criterion films, we watch the bonus features together, the special features and stuff, man. That's true love to me. If you're willing to put in time with some of these Criterion releases and watch all of the special features, then you won my heart. My cinematic heart.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And but it's a two-way street, because she's a Broadway gal, so I have to put in the work with Broadway.
Have you been watching all that Broadway stuff? That's just available for free. Oh my gosh.
We haven't done that yet. I've been finding reasons to not watch them.
No,
it's Asian Pacific Heritage American Month. Babe, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you had more representation in the Broadway fields for Asian Pacific Americans, then we could. But sorry, we've got Marty Scorsese over here with his World Cinema Project, exploring Taiwan, the Philippines, Korea, and so on and so forth.
We watched one of them, and I think just like any genre of art, there's sort of the highbrow and the lowbrow, or the classics and the stuff that is just cranked out. So it's not all equal, but
Yeah.
we watched Phantom of the Opera when
Oh,
they had
cool.
that one available, and
Yeah, so
the
did we.
kids watched it with us too, and they were loving it. And yeah,
Yeah.
it was just like,
Uh,
oh, that's right. This is an amazing production. Just like
yeah.
these classic songs and stuff. And
Well,
yeah, I don't.
the technical aspect of it too, you can just like marvel at that.
Yeah,
Having done such extensive choreography for Evie Land, and at this point, it behooves us to give a shout out to our two choreographers, Rachel Butler from Madison Ballet and AJ Juarez from AJ Juarez Dance. Those guys, I mean, just to watch the choreography with the electric vehicles, with the dancers, the different styles of dance, but also the camera choreography too. That was just like, I took so much like video behind the scenes of that, and we'll share that at some point. We've been doing that recently on Instagram, kind of doing these Instagram stories where we kind of give a peek behind the scenes of all the films. It's been really, really cool. I hadn't shared any of that stuff previously, but being in quarantine, you have a little bit more time. So it's been really kind of cool telling the story of the making of these stories. And it just so happens that we really sort of embrace the musical genre for Evie Land, and that's really Broadway musicals. I mean, just the choreography, the technicality, the precision, and just the physical demands. It's just like, this is just astounding.
Yeah.
Astounding. So yeah. But Phantom of the Opera, John, now that you mentioned it, that was the first production that I'd seen. I saw that as a kid. My dad took me to see them when Sarah Brightman was part of the company, and I saw it in LA, I think, at the Civic Arts Theater there. But that was that one set design or stage design with the candles. It was just like, whoa, to see that in person, it blew me away.
Yeah.
I
think they do a good job too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
go ahead
to an electrical outlet because I'm down to like 8%. So.
Oh, nice. This will be good. We are wrapping up here, and like I mentioned before, this is like a short conversation for us, but it's been so good to hang out and talk with you.
Totally.
Give me some recommendations. What can you recommend? You're one of the guys who I'm like, if this guy recommends it, I'm watching. Like, I subscribe to the Criterion channel, and now I've got 14 days. I'm like, let's make some, of my free trial. Let's make some use out of this, and I see if I can convince the wife to keep it going. So, what kind of recommendations you got for our viewers?
Well, one movie that really took my breath away. Let me see. There's been so many movies that have taken my breath away. Well, recently, that Manila and the Claws of Light was just phenomenal. But it's pretty demanding, and it's not just something that you just put on. It helps to understand the culture and the history too. You know what was the best feel-good sort of movie that I watched during quarantine? And this is, I think you'll enjoy it even if you're not a fan of the group, but the Beastie Boys.
Never Stop. Oh, I was gonna say Never Stop, Never Stopping by Adam Sandberg.
Adam
Sandberg. The Lonely Island.
Yeah, those guys are great. I think they've got a new movie coming out on Hulu. I think I saw.
Oh,
a Beastie Boys. It's a Spike Lee's live documentary on the band. That's my favorite group of all time, and I've been really anxious to see this film. And I think you can watch it on Apple if you have Apple TV Plus. It's phenomenal.
Oh, okay. Is it on Apple TV Plus?
Yeah. Basically, it's really just like this live documentary. They just do a history of the band with the two surviving members at this theater in Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. And it's basically just Mike D and Ad Rock on the stage in front of a live audience with these scenes playing out. So really, it's like a documentary. They're the two talking heads. And then you have, footage from throughout their career. Now it's just a joy. One, it's I never fell out of love with these guys. These guys have just been a steady soundtrack of my life since, since middle school. And I never fell out of love with them, but in a weird way, watching this made me fall in love all over again with them. So just kind of like charting their trajectory of the band. And they really evolved over the years, not just musically, not just spiritually, but as people. And then I felt good about that because I've also feel like I have done that as well. The music's great, the creativity is great. It's a bittersweet watch because one of the members, MCA, he passed away, I think in like 2005 or something. So, it was a great watch. I really enjoyed that one. I highly recommend that, and it's just super entertaining. You don't even have to know anything about the Beastie Boys. I think it's very enjoyable. How about
Beastie
you guys? Boys
story? Ooh, boy. I'll go since I'm talking. Give John a second to talk or think. I have a huge list of movies that I need to watch, and I haven't seen anything that I'm like, you need to watch this. Like Uncut Gems is really, really good, but I just know, that's not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's a movie that's cerebral in a weird way. Kind of like one of my favorite films, Donnie Darko. Like not for everyone. So I don't have a film recommendation, but we have been watching some TV. It's nice to be able to, watch a couple episodes, and there's something comforting to that. And I respond to things where I can tell where people are, really engaging and working hard at their art and care about their art.
Yeah.
And today, let's see. Today we have a check-in every meeting with the company, and today's meeting was today's question was, what did you want to be when you were a kid? And I kind of had three answers. That's three. And early on, I wanted to be an astronaut because we got these encyclopedias back when, you'd buy an encyclopedia, and I loved space, and I still love space, and learning more about what's going on now. The SpaceX, unfortunately, the launch got scrubbed, but there'll be another one on Saturday.
It was weather related, right?
Yeah.
Weather related. They didn't have that window, but as soon as, it was the afternoon and John had shared the link, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get my kids in here. But just that space has just always been so special. I love space.
First Man is great.
First Man is amazing. Yeah, especially that first scene where he's like leaving the atmosphere and like calculating how to not die. Like that's amazing. That was my favorite movie that released that year, and it was such a great document of like American pageantry, and the intimacy of that film. That was the thing. Like it just like Damien Chazelle, he just like focused on like the nuts and bolts of the spaceship, of the rocket. And just like this really sort of these intimate spaces, these intimate human emotions, and it was just I really adored that film. It's a great film. Sorry. That's a great recommendation. No. If you haven't seen that, you should definitely. You should definitely see that film. It's so amazing, and like you have so much respect for our astronauts and NASA and our pilots and those people who do that work. Like, it's not something that I could do, without 10 years of training and 20 years of training or whatever. Like, it's amazing. So that was one of them. The other one was, filmmaker. When I was in elementary, I did my first stop motion film with Power Rangers. So that's eventually what led me to where I am now. But the other one was the military. So my dad was in the military. We traveled around. But
it's
those are
see
the good and the bad.
The same three as me.
Was it really?
Yeah, I wanted to be a Jedi. I wanted to be like my stepfather was in the military, but I was obsessed with like G.I. Joe and like Rambo. That version of that glorified.
I'm with you.
Your real American hero, and and filmmaker too. Like my first stop motion film was with G.I. Joe characters, and it was like just this reinterpretation of Desperado, the film Desperado, Robert Rodriguez's Desperado. I did
Yes,
that with
yeah.
my two best friends from middle school on. They're still my best friends, and we used to make like these absurd movies, like either our interpretations of existing movies, or
Yeah.
we would just do trailers for movies that didn't exist, and that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how we passed the time in good old Partyville, Wisconsin.
And with the things that you love. So my Power Rangers film is like I love space, and they're kind of like, from space or whatever. But the third thing, the military, like there's always been a affection towards the military because that's part of how I grew up,
Yeah.
And so we got CBS Live or CBS All Access through Amazon to watch Star Trek, and we've been very much enjoying the new Star Trek. But I also started watching SEAL Team because it's got David Boreanaz on it, and that cast has been so fantastic. And they've done things where, spoilers in season 2, they're on season 3 or season 4. His wife dies, not him. His wife dies, and dealing with grief for an episode or 3, and just the writing, the acting, the directing, the cinematography. It's been so great. Like I watched, I've been brought to tears by this show, and I showed my wife. I was like, oh my gosh, you got to see this moment. And I showed my wife the moment, and she was brought to tears. And I'm like, this is what good cinema is. It happens to be television. But I think at this point, a lot of television, a lot of good television is cinema.
The line is completely blurred at this point.
Yeah. So that's one of the ones I've been watching and super excited about because they've just been doing such a great job about that. Plus, as like a little boy, you just want to be a hero and run around and save people. So, I recognize that's one of the reasons, but it's also really well done. And that's part of one of the things that I like with The Lobster, that film is like dealing with death and grief. And, if you can't get there, you're going to die, and those types of emotions, because I don't deal with that normally. I'm working in the basement. Next week we'll start working at the office, in a safe way, but it's very kind of vanilla. Like there's not danger really in my life. And so to see people dealing with danger, dealing with death, I've been very blessed to not have, anyone close to me die, just, kind of the usual grandparents and that sort of thing. So, I seek these movies out to experience those emotions.
Yeah.
Which is, it's different than normal. So sometimes, like we talked in the beginning, I want something to just wrench me, take my heart and squeeze it and take me to the brink. And it's probably because I'm getting older and I'm a father of 6 kids.
Yeah.
But I think about, legacy and what do you leave for your family? And when you see somebody struggling with that, and when their wife dies, that is something that, it's like working out. You flex a muscle, you do something different with your body so that it doesn't get used to the same movements, and you get lethargic, right? So you do different things. So emotionally, I think cinema does that for us. It takes us to a place that you might not normally experience. So sometimes I do want a little more comedy because it's been a stressful day. Sometimes I want somebody to just reach into my chest and just grab my heart and squeeze it as much as they can, and sometimes you just want something a little weird, and you're like, I don't know what just happened, but we were here and that was fun. So super long-winded way.
Speaking of military and outer space and comedy, I cannot wait for Space Force, which you guys just reminded me of.
Oh yeah,
it's today.
Today,
right?
Yes.
Today,
So
I released today.
I haven't seen that yet. I'm excited about it.
Yes.
I'll take you through a quick little thing that we've been on. I love all the recommendations, and the challenge I think sometimes that we run into in our household is we do feel the weight of the world on certain things, and then so you get to the evening, it's like, hey, should we watch? What should we watch? And it's like, well, there's this one that would be good, but it's like, I don't think I want to feel like that right now. These.
Yeah.
My wife and I were talking about watching A Hidden Life recently, which
Terrence
looks
Malick.
really. I don't remember. I'm really bad with the names.
We have it too, yeah.
But she was like, I just don't think I want to watch that right now.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it is Terrence Malick. Yeah,
we've been watching a lot of TV stuff. We've been watching. We had been following Community for a long time, and then it got back onto Netflix, and we had never watched the last season, so we've been enjoying the last season. Not film, not even TV, but Kevin James has been doing these short films on his YouTube channel, and I always have loved Kevin James. He's just so funny and so like amazing stuff. Now, a film that we watched, I'm not recommending it, but it was like, here's a stupid movie, and my wife was like, I just want to like zone out, laugh a bit. We watched The Hustle with Rebel Wilson and
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, which I only really enjoyed because I realized it was clearly like a remake of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is what's happening. This is what happens. Yeah. So that's kind of what we've been in recently, is just these kind of fun, more lighthearted things. But the one that I've been desiring to actually go back to, so this will be my higher quality, good recommendation related to space and good music, maybe, is Interstellar. So
that's fantastic.
Rediscovered the soundtrack of that. I was looking up something and was listening to that, and my son plays the piano and my daughter plays violin and stuff, and I was like, hey guys, listen to this. And it's such a captivating feature track or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just like
the Christopher Nolan, Hans Zimmer collaborations. I mean, they're just phenomenal.
I was just
they're great with the film, but they stand on their own too.
But
it's just so visceral.
Yeah. And that track and that film and stuff, like, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I was just thinking about, so again, you get like family, legacy, space, sacrifice.
Got it all.
That's intense, and that makes it just draws you out of yourself to think about like all of existence, and that so that's kind of the one that I've been thinking about going back to and rewatching sometime here soon.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I love that. I love that film, and I watched that relatively recently because Christopher Nolan released all of his back catalog on 4K, and it's just so pristine. It's just glorious to watch, and the sound, especially the sound design and the Hans Zimmer score, it just envelopes you in this existential sort of like play that just so happens to take place in the cosmos.
Yeah,
phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
So
well, that's the type of sci-fi that like my wife loves. She's like, give me a story about something so completely different. I hit my mic. So completely different, but that tells you something about yourself.
Right.
Absolutely. That is intimate. That is an intimate story.
I agree with her, man. That's the best kind of science fiction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So I think we did it today. I could probably hang out with you for several more hours. Yeah. I'd love to continue this discussion.
I've got movies to watch.
But I love
or
it.
a Falcon Cam to get back up.
Is there anything else that you'd like to plug right now? Obviously, we shared Genre 2030. Go check that out, genre2030.com.
Yeah. I guess more on a serious tip, a lot of people in our community are really, I mean, there's various levels of being impacted by the coronavirus and the safer at home order. We're impacted in one way, but a lot of people are impacted in a different, more potentially severe way, serious way. So one thing that MG&E has done is kind of compiled a list of resources, community resources in Dane County, both for residential customers or individuals and businesses. So if you go to mge.com/resources, it's just a running list of some pretty stellar organizations and sources of information that can help people get through this really challenging time.
Awesome. And yeah, do follow. What's your guys' Instagram channel?
At
I have seen all those. At Genre 2030.
Yeah, and then
that. You can see all the videos.
And then MGE Madison, if you want to get all the good old energy information, for sure.
Yeah, nice. And hit us up. I think down here. Wait, let's see if I can point correctly. There you go. Let's Backflip. We're on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on all the grams, all the things. Hit us up. Let us know what you want us to talk about, who you want us to hit up. We have all these clients that you've seen, and most of them, I would say all of them, are our friends, and we love catching up with them. So let us know what is interesting to you. Thank you so much, Charlie, for coming on today for like 2 hours, a little more than 2 hours. That's a lot of time.
It's almost as long
catching up with you, man.
Almost as long as Interstellar.
Yeah, we'll have to do a movie night, safely at Backflip sometime. We got our projector set up and a screen set up, so sweet. I'll let you know when we can do a movie night. So that's awesome.
Great. Thanks, gentlemen. It was a pleasure, and I hope you guys are doing good. It sounds like you are, and just continue to be healthy, creative individuals.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
and we'll hang out soon. John, anything else before we end?
Boy, I wish. I sure wish.
That's all right. You'll plan it next time. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. That's it for today. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.